Hello, my name is Ivana, and this is Peace Talks, my series devoted to building resilience in times of conflict. In this episode, I'm going to talk to my dear teacher, mentor, and friend, Komala Amorim. Komala Amorim is a group leader, a trainer, a somatic experiencing practitioner, and craniosacral biodynamic therapist. She's also an explorer of the power of the singing voice and sound vibrations. Born in Brazil, she lived for many years in India and currently resides in Europe. She offers workshops and long trainings in different parts of the world. The last 30 years of her life have been fully dedicated to the path of love and consciousness. She combines and applies different modalities in various group dynamics. Her work is based on body awareness, transpersonal psychology, and voice exploration in combination with Taoist, Sufi, Tantric, and shamanic practices. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Welcome, Komala. I'm so happy that you accepted to join in this conversation.
Hi, Ivana. Hi, everybody. It's very nice to be here and to meet you after quite a while and to be talking about this.
What helps you to stay resilient in those times that we live in?
What definitely helps me is to meditate, is to really take my meditation practice to sit and reflect and observe my body, my emotions, my mind, what is hovering around me, and to be present with it, to presence what I'm experiencing. So that's one thing that helps me. But another thing that really helps me, and usually it comes before, and it's like whenever I have time and space, what I'm doing every day, is physical practice, physical exercises. For me, movement with awareness is fundamental to keep not just my body alive, but my mind fresh and my energy moving. So this combination of physical movement exercises and silence, sitting in silence, it's like what makes my day. And and this is what, in a way, I bring then into my work and my creative ideas. And basically this is the basis of it. To be able to also go to nature. For me, nature lately is so fundamental for me, to have time to go for walks and to connect with nature. Yes.
Yeah, so I hear like connecting with nature and walks, having times in silence, also meditation and movement and exercise is what really helps you. And when you do those practices, how does it then influence the way you interact with others? For example, when there are some situations that are a bit more stressful, or when there is like a potential conflict, how does that connect then?
I mean, this is what helps. Of course, the communication when there is a conflict, and to be able to communicate and to share what I'm experiencing and to listen is fundamental. But from my experience, what is really helps is that first I take time with myself to reflect in whatever has been happening, if I am in a situation of conflict, so that I can allow all the emotions, the feelings, what is in my mind that gets stirred up by the situation. I have time to allow it to settle. I have more space to actually relate to the situations or the inner voices that gets awakened in me when I enter in a situation of conflict, which might be conflict with a person, or it might be a conflict with the world or something, the things that are happening, which are touching me and creates a friction inside. So this to take time actually to breathe out, to allow the energies or the movements that are happening inside of me to rest, to come into a rest place. Because from there, it's really like naturally, or is a kind of a magic also, but we can also understand all of this now through the neurosciences in a way, but this has been experienced through meditation for many, many years, is that much more clarity comes when we allow our energy to settle and we are present with it. Something happens with the energy that becomes more clear. So it goes up into the mind with a more clear way. And this just helps me very, very much to resolve, and then to be able to actually then come and meet the situations directly.
Yeah. So you're saying that kind of taking time to connect to my experience and to relate to the outside is helping me to get more clear, so that I can also interact maybe more effectively, with more clarity, more embodied, where the energy is settled. And I'm so grateful when I see you and I remember all your work, the meditation and the movement meditations and the looking into our body, the different energy centers, the chakras. I just realize how very grateful I am for that awareness, and how it really deepens the work in the world. Yeah.
Yes, is an important element here is this relating to parts of myself. This is very much present in different ways in my work, because we tend to look at conflict as something happening outside with another person, with a situation. But what I see in myself and with the people I work is conflict start from inside, like an inner conflict of different places inside of me, which it tends to be in opposite with each other, and that's what I bring then out or into conflicts and situations with people. So when I have time to relate to those different places in myself that tends to be maybe fearful or angry or irritated with something, and I take time to, in this inner space, to relate to those places in me, again, through the body, by seeing and sensing those emotions, those feelings as sensations, because it makes it then very real when I go into the body. Something really happens. There is a relaxation that happens there. And I learn about relating then in that way. If I'm able to relate to myself, to parts of me which are not so easy, that I tend sometimes to deny or to be ashamed of or disconnect from, So when I learn to relate with those places in me, I'm also learning to relate to those places in people in the world which are not so easy. And it also can work the other way around. For some people, actually, they have a tendency, maybe, or they know maybe even how to relate to things or to people outside of them. But it takes like an awareness to realize that, but if I care for that person, if I take so much energy to care for somebody, how would it be to also take time to see myself and take care of myself in certain parts of myself that I tend maybe to judge or criticize? So it goes both ways.
So the inner work and how we relate to our parts can then make it easier, or can create more space also to relate with other people.
Yeah.
And maybe being able to relate to others can also help us relate to ourselves.
Yes.
Some parts. Yes.
Yes.
And
it's a learning process. I see.
So is it that when you work with other people, for example, a couple, or something happening in the group, is it that this is what you keep in your awareness, that okay, there might be also like the inner world that is not visible, which needs to be related to?
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely. I work mostly in groups, and a fundamental part, I believe, is really what makes my work in groups, and the dynamics really develop well, is that the entire group is, I consider the group as a body, as a soul. Yeah. So every person that comes to a specifically workshop or training, they are all elements, fundamental elements of that body, or cells of that body. And every person who is there is participating. By just being there, they are part of it, and they are contributing to what's happening. And and they are contributing to the collective of the group by really going deep into themselves. So the practices are really going from connecting with oneself, also, like we do certain active practices or awareness practice first to connect with myself. And then the practice where I'm relating to another person or to other people. And in those practices, we are learning and practicing to tune in, to feel myself. And then I'm working, practicing to tune in with another person, to really feel another person. Yeah. How do I feel another person? Through my body. But first I need to do that because I need to kind of tune in the instrument. I need to get to know. I need to feel myself before I can feel and sense another. And then we practice that with another person or 3 people together. And then I always call the people to feel the group and to sense, how are we doing? How are we going? And also to sense and feel. There is something which happens that is so beautiful and so healing in such a group dynamic, when one person is sharing something that is important for them and maybe difficult, challenging, and we create a space for this person to let it out, to express that. And then the whole group is invited to witness that, not just to witness, but to feel through their own bodies what is happening to that person from a loving place, from a caring and embracing space. It's really magic what happens then, the possibility that is created for that person to allow whatever is challenging to release or relax, and then much more and more clarity comes, and the person is able to see so much more of herself or himself. And then that energy that gets released on that one person now belongs to the whole group, so it comes back. And I really get touched when I say that, because this is really the fundamental practice, I would say, of all the work, and it really works because it creates a sense of safety, it creates a sense of belonging, yeah? And from there, we trust, and people trust that we can also bring in things which are not easy. So things which are maybe conflicting inside of myself or between people, or conflicting situations that are present in my life, that I'm facing, meeting in my life, in my relationships outside the group, I can then bring that into the work so that we can work with it. And one thing also that I like to say, and I see more and more clear, is how a person who is sitting in a group room, she is not there just by herself. Let's say she's bringing with her or with him all their relationships. Everything is present, and their work and their life and their way of thinking, it's coming to the group room. They are bringing it there. And so those elements are also being then worked in the group room. And my trust, and I believe it happens a lot, is that all this, what we are processing then together, goes back to the communities, to their families, to their work, to their lives. That is really, really, really my intention, and what we talk a lot about it again and again.
Yeah, from how I experienced your work, I see it as a healing work. Creating the resource of the group body, as you named it, taking the resource or enabling the resource of awareness on the individual level and group level, when things can manifest and can be held in a safe space, safe container. And maybe could you say a bit more about, you said about how this can contribute kind of the larger connections, the circles that are around us, maybe even what went before us, and how do you see the connection of this group work and what happens there, how it can contribute to resolution on a larger scale, on a kind of a societal scale? Maybe it's a big question, but maybe you have a yes about that.
I mean, the immediate result, it is how one then, when I understand something and when I relate with something in myself with more clarity, the way I would go back to my relationships, my family, my children, my work, it could be, or it has a great potential to be different, and that something can change in those relationships. And I mean, the world is a system. No? The world is an interconnection of individual people and groups, and those, and whatever is happening in a family, it's going to be touching the culture, or it's eventually touching the world. And I know this, this sounds like, how is this happening? But the movement of one individual that is happening, in this case in the group room, is going to be touching all the people and the situations close to them, which eventually will keep on moving, because we are really, I believe, it's not a belief, it's a reality, we are all interconnected. So whenever there is a movement inside one individual, it will be touching life. And sometimes I also reflect on that, like how much what I'm doing and what I'm bringing in is really creating an impact. I've been having this question many times, and sometimes even like, oh my God, it's so many problems and so much difficulties in the world. How come this, what I'm doing, is really bringing the effects which I would wish that it brings to the world? There is no way to know, really, to be very sincere. But for me, what I see is when I meet somebody and that comes in with difficulties and a challenge, and I see how that is transforming in him, in her, and that I get the feedback of how it got moved also in their lives and in their relationships, it gives me hope, because I really believe that then any small movement that looks small, but one person is a universe in itself, so it's not small. No, if one person that comes my way is more happy, or is living their potential, living the fullness of their much more in alignment, something is being touched then in the life. Now, one thing that I have as a, let's say, is a kind of a hope. Whenever I'm working with somebody, I tend to think about the children. So I have a very soft spot when I meet people come to my work and they are bringing in their children into the question and their relationship with their children, or there's a difficulties, or there's a question there. When I am able to support that, and I have this feeling that this, what is transforming this woman or this man now, or changing, is going to change the way they relate to their children, and the way, and that they're going to bring more love, more care. They will be able to actually tune in with their children in a different way. That touches me, because I really feel that this is our hope. This is my hope, is the new generations that are coming. So every adult person who is becoming more conscious, and they are able to pass then to the new generations something, more consciousness, more love, more care, and more capacity to tune in and to really feel one another in a deep level, there is hope.
Yeah, and I can relate to that. I just want to confirm that, because there are moments when I interact with my daughter, when I do recall the inner child work that I experienced with you, or the chakra work that helps me kind of relate to development that I'm witnessing. From my experience, it really stays, and in my work is similar. When I work with couples, with children, I like to kind of include that and support the whole family field. When I imagine the people who are watching us, maybe as they watch, they can think of their own relationships or some connections that are difficult for them. What would be your way to approach that? Say if I'm watching this and I'm experiencing a certain tension with some person in my life. How would you approach that?
One thing is to take time to really feel what is really important for you in that relationship. To look at the possibilities that are there, to open my heart to the relationship itself, how much I care for that situation. What is important? Because when I'm having a conflict with somebody or something, it means in some way that I care, I believe. Otherwise, I can just go away, So if there is a situation that is challenging me with somebody, it means it's important. So to also put attention into what is it that is important there, that I care for. And maybe it can be that this is too advanced already, and I need first take time to really feel in myself how that situation touches me. What are the emotions that that conflict or situation stirs up in me? Do I get angry? No? Do I go into pain? It touches my fears, or no? To take time to reflect what gets touched in me. Because the problem in conflict is that we tend to look at the other. I mean, this is classic, it's always is the other's fault, you are doing it, it's your problem. It's really, really this is a huge, huge work, and so fundamental to bring the attention not the attention. The attention is still in the whole, in the relationship, but to take time to feel what's happening in me, how am I touched, and also what is my share on this. But I believe first I need to take care of the emotional energy, because if I don't take care of what is happening in me, which for me, I see it always like this is like a regressed state. Usually in a conflict situation, we tend to go back into a younger part of ourselves. We are not really able to be in our full adult consciousness. And usually those strong emotions that arises are like reflections from past experiences, where brings us to certain states where I function in a less capacity. I'm younger, I'm maybe a child or a teenager. So to take time to take care of that, to feel what I'm feeling, and to have then, I need to have a dialogue with myself and first to as an adult, and find my ways to connect with that in me, which is an adult consciousness, which has capacities, which can take care and feel those uncomfortable feelings that I'm experiencing. And to breathe it out and create a space, to give space to that, to care for that which I'm experiencing. And when I take care of what I'm feeling, the possibility is that by doing that, I am already becoming more adult because I need to go into my adult self in order to take care of something in me which is younger, which is more contracted or fearful. When I do that, I become more conscious, more clear. Hopefully, that's the possibility. And from there, I then might have the possibility and the capacity to also reflect on what is my share in this conflict. In which way I am contributing to the struggle in it, in which way I can contribute to the resolution of it. And then what's the way to approach it, to approach the person, to approach the situation, and to communicate then what I am feeling and sensing, experiencing, and also seeing the other. The thing is, from when we are in these regressed states, we cannot really see the other. We have a limited perspective of the person or the word. So when I enter my more adult consciousness, then that's the place where I can also see the other where they are. And I know it's not so simple and easy to do, but it's possible.
I really like how what you're sharing is actually corresponding to the process within nonviolent communication. Also, the approach to conflict, like it involves some self-connection, some awareness to become aware of what I'm feeling, what is important, what do I care about, which we name sometimes as needs or the qualities. Also inviting self-responsibility in how you mentioned the question, what is my share? Right. What is my part? How do I contribute to the conflict? And I hear how it's important to enter in awareness the state of the adult who can observe and who can somehow see the younger parts that need to be felt, and then act from that adult perspective.
Yes.
I really enjoy listening to you, Komala. It's wonderful to be in connection with you, with all the gifts that I've received. Would you like to add something?
I just want to add that from this, you just reflected again about that this is something I've been really practicing. I really have been doing that in different situations in my relationships, my ex-partner, with friends, with my roommate here. And it really works. It has been really working to do that. So it's really worth a try.
Yeah, and I remember even like witnessing like how you approach some kind of discussion on Facebook. And I know that it comes from a lot of care and from this practice of awareness, which I find very inspiring. Oh, thank you very much, Komala, for your time.
Thank you. It's very nice
And
to
yeah,
connect with you and to share about this.
it's
and to talk
wonderful that
about
you can continue to increase the hope that we can contribute.
Yes, and thank you for creating this space and sharing all this wisdom from different people in yourself.
Yeah, I love seeing how it actually connects. Yeah.